Excellent. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of Classroom to Careers. And we are, as I always say, very excited to have another event like this. We have had several during the past few months and they have been great. And today will be no different. It will be absolutely the same. We have an excellent organization on with us today called GPI, and they will tell you all about who they are and what they do, but we are very excited to have them with us. Also, we are excited to have a lot of students with us today from different schools around the Suffolk County area. East Islip, Patrick Medford, several schools from the Eastern Suffolk BOCES organization, schools further out east as far as Riverhead, Southampton, so on and so forth. We have a very good crowd with us today. So we're excited to have this event to share the information and to really kind of inspire the students to let them know what's out there as far as a career path in different areas. And today we really will be emphasizing the tech part, the STEM part, science, technology, engineering, and math. I know that's been one of the things that our commissioner has been talking to us about. And we have had several representatives in talking about that. But today we're really excited with GPI because this is really a company that emphasizes careers in those STEM areas. So they will talk to us about that and really kind of inspire the students and share with us their particular stories. So without further ado, I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking because we have a lot of information to cover. So we'll get right into the program. But before we do that, I would like to introduce our commissioner. She is the commissioner of the Suffolk County Department of Labor, Licensing and Consumer Affairs. Her name is Rosalie Drago. We're very glad to have her with us. Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Alonzo. I want to first thank our team, the business service team led by Diane LaChapelle, and I know we have a bunch of our team members on, and I also want to thank Stacy Lesko from our youth division. I also want to thank the teachers who are connecting their students with the classrooms and the opportunities that are available. So I remember being in school, I have 2 kids as well, and we're thinking like, why am I learning this stuff? I hate math, I don't get it. You know, when am I ever going to use this again? And we've been focused on helping people see what's possible in the future. So you guys in the classroom, thanks for doing the work as well. And thanks to GPI this morning for taking the time to connect our students. Hi, Denise. So I just want to take a minute to say there are thousands of jobs open on Long Island. And the ones we like to focus on are the ones that have career pathways. So I've been working since I'm 14. I've done everything from deliver pizza and wait tables to work in a factory. All of those things were super relevant, and all the skills I learned even from the time I was 14 working in every job I use today. But what we want to look at for people is employers that provide an entryway in and a ladder up so that you can advance professionally, personally, and with your education. In today's job market, you don't just learn a job and stay in that one job and nothing changes for 20 years. Like, technology changes probably every week. So we're excited to introduce you to GPI. We're excited to continue to offer you the opportunities on Long Island. Don't end with today. Reach out to GPI, reach out to us and ask questions. And if there's an industry you're interested in, Alonzo will connect you with them. So thank you. Alonzo, go forth.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner. I appreciate those inspiring words. Great to hear about your background and how you kind of went from one place to the other, letting the students know that they can do the same as well if they put their minds to it. So thank you for your inspiring story. So at this point, I would like to go ahead and start the program and introduce these wonderful people that we have with us today. And I would like to introduce Stacy Russell, who will be kind of facilitating the guest speakers for her team at GPI. And so Stacy, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Alonzo. Thank you very much. And good morning, everybody. My name is Stacy Russell, and I am the Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Facilitator here at GPI. Also on our call is our Human Resource Director, Vanessa Cifuentes. Vanessa, you can give him a wave. All right. A big part of our job is focused on the employee experience and making GPI an inclusive and fulfilling place to work. Another big aspect of our job is finding ways to get young people like yourselves interested in STEM careers after high school. But before we hear from our presenters today, I'd like to tell you a little bit about GPI. GPI is a leading engineering consulting firm that specializes in the innovative design and construction of transportation, infrastructure, and building projects. Our experts provide engineering, design, planning, and construction management services to a wide variety of government agencies, institutions, industries, corporations, private organizations, and developers. Our services include bridge engineering, building systems engineering, civil and site engineering, construction management, environmental services, GIS, asset management, highway engineering, planning, and urban design. We also have protective coatings, surveying, mapping, traffic engineering, water, wastewater, and the list goes on. Now, I want to tell you that GPI has over 1,500 employees, and our number one strategic objective is employee satisfaction. We believe in our mission that together we can create the infrastructure that people need the most as one team. So before we talk to our presenters today, I'd like to show you 2 videos so you guys can kind of get a feel of what it would be like to work at GPI. Just give me a second while I change my screen or share my screen with you. And if someone can give me a thumbs up when you can see it. All right, here we go.
Okay, can you maximize that, Stacy?
We sure can.
Great, thank you so much.
Let me know if you guys can hear it as well.
All right, we need volume on it. Okay, a little more volume.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Stacy, you still with us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
You can't see me?
No, the video is up now. All you have to do is press play.
It is not cooperating with me. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can get it to cooperate.
Okay. It was playing
This happens
before.
every once in a while.
It was playing before when you first started, Stacy. If you hit play again.
Yeah, let me unmute. I'm sorry, stop sharing and reshare.
Okay.
Let's see if that helps. Okay. And let me know if this is working.
And the test of time.
Yes, we're all set.
All right, here we go.
Certain things are made to withstand the test of time. Steel, concrete, but even those have a shelf life. Adaptation means adjusting to an ever-changing environment, utilizing the latest technologies, researching unfamiliar techniques, exploring uncharted territory. We strive to innovate, to contribute to society and create a better tomorrow for future generations. There is one constant in all of this: the people. At GPI, we believe that people make the difference. We believe in working together and engineering a culture of advancement and opportunity, blazing a path of progress and forging memories all along the way. If there's one thing that will always stand the test of time, it's the people of GPI.
All right, and I have one more video that I'd like to share with you guys. And this one is of a intern that interned with us about a year ago. Her name is Taylor Novitsky. And hopefully.
My name is Taylor Novitsky, and this is my second summer interning with GPI. One of the main reasons that I decided to come back to GPI and intern for a second summer is the culture in the workplace. Everyone in the office always has a positive attitude and comes in with a smile on their face. Everyone is always trying to be as productive as they possibly can. Whenever you have a question, don't be afraid to ask it, because everyone will be willing to help you and they'll have good answers that will only improve your experience at GPI. Everyone has the same beliefs that we should work hard and work as a team, and everyone likes to have fun while doing it too. That's one of the main reasons that I love GPI. I'm back again because I couldn't remember half of the things that I wanted to say before. This is why I went to school for engineering and not acting. But another reason that I love the culture at GPI is because they're always willing to grow. The company plans to grow a lot in the near future, and this gives young people so many opportunities, and it would be a great place to be in your career.
And thank you, Taylor. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I want to introduce to you guys our speakers for today. Let me start with Charles Longsworth II. Charles holds a bachelor's degree in engineering with a focus on structural design, with a focus on structural design from Polytech University, and associate's degree in mechanical engineering technology from New City College of Technology. He currently works as a bridge design engineer with GPI. Charles also works with high school students through ACE, which means Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. That's a program that allows students to have a better idea of what the industry is about, from a non-degree work opportunities to various degrees of work opportunities through a hands-on field with design projects. Our second speaker is going to be Miss Ia Hall. She is a licensed surveyor with 23 years of experience. She's also licensed in Florida and Kentucky. She graduated from the University of Puerto Rico with a bachelor's degree in land surveying and topography. And she also graduated from Polytech University of Puerto Rico with a master's in engineering management. Now, Ms. Hall is located in our geospatial branch down in Orlando, where she serves as our office manager and the QA/QC manager. She is very dedicated to her profession, so she also serves as the board of professional directors and mappers here in Florida. She's experienced with surveying operations, aerial and ground survey for transportation, public works, infrastructure, private development, and airport mapping projects. Now, in her personal life, she spends a lot of time with her daughter, Charlie, who is 8 and watches movies while Charlie is sleeping. She also is an avid theme park fan and enjoys riding her motorcycle around town. Hi, Ia.
It's while I'm sleeping. I watch movies while I sleep. I try. I'm most tired.
Thank you. And our last presenter today is going to be Louis Tobin. He is our systems administrator here at GPI. He's been with our company for about 2 years, but before he worked at GPI, he works for Microsoft and another company called OS33. At GPI, he specializes in managing our Microsoft cloud technologies, as well as managing our IT service desk. He spends most of his spare time hanging out with his wife, Elizabeth, and his daughter, Juniper, and they love gardening, hiking, playing video games, disc golf, and baking. So they're really super excited to share their career journeys with you. So let's start with Charles.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. So I started in, I guess I'll start with how I got involved in engineering. I generally had an interest in how things stood up. just walking around the city as a kid, you see the big buildings and you just wonder how it stood up. And I grew up in construction. My dad worked, residential buildings, and you see all the daily activities, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So, but what really made the switch for me was when I started working as a drafter. I had my associates in mechanical. I became a drafter, but then I saw what the designers did. And I was like, this is really cool. And at that point, that's when I, decided to apply to civil engineering and make the switch from mechanical. And, because of that internship, no, it wasn't really an internship. It was more of it was a job. I was a drafter. I had a skill set that I learned in community college, got me in the door to this engineering firm. And after working with them, I said, okay, I want to do this. And I inquired, I asked them questions, and they were very helpful. They said, this is what you need to do. And they said, you do need a 4-year degree for civil engineering. So that's when I started looking around, and then I eventually applied to Polytechnic University. And along the way, I wanted to keep improving and see how can I continue to gain information in this field while going to school. They, told me all the certifications I can do, all the internships that they had within the company, whether it be, an intern doing field inspection or data collection, getting my OSHA card, so that was very useful. So all those little things that are not degree oriented, you can get, and then you can build your way along to getting that degree if that's what you choose to do. So the benefits from my job that I found most fulfilling was you impact the entire community as a civil engineer, and even a civil engineer technician. Everything that you look at, you can look around your room, you'll see something that a civil engineer has touched, whether it's the building you're sitting in, or the pipe work, the water from your faucet, this crosswalk outside your school. So, I mean, civil engineering is a great profession, very fulfilling, and it impacts everyone around you without you even knowing. And I think that was what really drew me to civil engineering. So that's my minor spiel. So if you would take the floor next.
Thanks, Charles. I'm sure everybody has a couple questions for you after that.
Oh, okay.
Did you have more, Charles?
No, that was it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to move on to Ia Hall. And Ia, tell us about your career journey.
Okay, so my career journey, I can say that, well, you guys are in high school and you probably are getting some orientation on some careers and what path to choose or follow, what you want to do. When I was in high school, nobody told me what land surveying was. I had no idea. It was back when it was just, you're going to be a doctor or an attorney or something like that, a nurse. There weren't many options for being engineers or surveyors or stuff like that. So I went to college for computer engineering. And after 2 years of doing that, I was like, this is not all that I like. There's a lot of things missing here for me. So my roommate was going for surveying, and I was like, what is that? And she's like, well, I don't know. I just was able to come in this college through that path. So I just came in. I don't even know. And we were still in the years where you're just taking the basic maths and the science and all that. So you really have that opportunity to take the basics and change. So I just went around the whole campus, and is the University of Puerto Rico Maya West is centered at science and math, basically. It's engineering. So I went to all of the campuses over there, and I talked to all of the counselors, and I was most interested in surveying. It was a path that would allow me to continue exploring the computer engineering part, because there's a lot of programming if you want to do that. There's also math, lots of math, trigonometry, geometry. That's the basic. And then you can be outside or you can be inside. You can help engineers or you can help somebody buy a house. so many things you can do with that career that I was like, well, that has potential for me to go anywhere I want with this in practice. So I found the value in it and I started and never looked back. You're muted, Stacy.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what surveyors do? What is surveying?
All right, so it's a basic definition is we need to position things on Earth. Well, nowadays we can measure stuff on the moon and Mars, wherever we are right now. It's measuring and positioning things on a mathematical shape. We serve engineers, or we can help engineers. Basically, everything that's built, modified and stuff needs a surveyor to measure it. So that is, in most states, we are certified, we have a license so that we protect the public as well. If you're going to buy a house, you need a survey to know where your house is, to make sure that your house is as big as they say it is and all that stuff. Tax agencies love us because we measure the houses, and based on that, they tax people. Now, surveying has become a bigger, broader spectrum type of career because it includes photogrammetry, which is measuring stuff from the air, from images. We take images and we prepare surveys from those images. Also, the orthos are the base maps for those tax agencies or Google Earth. Most of the imagery from Google Earth is resources that they pull in from different places. It could be satellites. We can now measure from satellites. So it's so broad. There's also LiDAR for the roadways. We just go in a car and we have a sensor on top and we drive through the road and we can collect all that information at one time. And the information may include where the signs are, where the light poles are. The engineers use that data to design stuff, to build stuff. So it's very broad. There's something for everyone. If you want to work out in the field and get a little dirty, you can do that too. Because the field guys do a lot of that work. All that surveying work needs to be controlled, especially the one that we call remote sensing, which is the one where you're not physically present. It's a sensor that is scanning stuff, be it a camera from a plane or the LiDAR sensor on the car. But all that needs to be controlled so that we know where we are again on the planet. So the field guys do that, and sometimes the conditions are not optimal. Sometimes they're out on the roads or in the woods, and they have to cut trees and all that, but they travel a lot. So awesome. It is a fun career. It is a fun career.
Thank you, Ia. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Charles and Ia could do their jobs without IT, right? Without, how do you manage all this data that they're getting in? So now we're going to hear from Louis Tobin. Lou, let's tell us about your career journey.
Sure. Yeah, so my career journey started when I was like 5, I think. I bricked my dad's computer by taking it apart. I've always been interested in how things work, and I've always liked fixing things. So my room when I was a kid was just strewn about with whatever I could take apart and figure out how it worked and put it back together incorrectly, and probably cost my parents a lot of money by doing that. But through all that interest, in growing up, I didn't have the necessarily the resources to go to a 4-year school. My parents were dirt poor for the most part. So, I kind of had to learn in ways that, or get an education in ways that were a little unconventional. I taught myself most of what I learned on how to fix computers and how to fix generally anything just by trying it out. When I started driving, I started fixing my own car immediately. When something was broken in the house, it was never, let's call someone to fix it. It's let's figure it out ourselves, which helped me, learn all this computer stuff because everyone needs their computer fixed. Like Stacy said, Charles and Ia wouldn't be able to do anything. Even Vanessa and Stacy and Denise on the call wouldn't be able to do a thing if their computer didn't work. Along my path, I actually originally started going to school for video game development because I really wanted to do that. I've loved video games since I was a little kid. But as I was progressing down that path, it turned out to be way more, not necessarily abstract, but less hands-on than I kind of enjoyed. And also the lifestyle of a video game designer is pretty intense. They work 80 hours a week and crunch and try, like those games you play take a lot of work to make. And I wanted to be able to have a family and spend time with them. So I decided to not go down that career path. And I actually switched things up and actually left college after my first year of community college to join the workforce for a few reasons. Needed to actually make some money to live was the biggest one, but started working at Microsoft just as a technician. You would say any of you with your personal computers would come in to where I would work, say I'm having this problem, and you could get help directly from a Microsoft technician. So that's what I did for years, learned a lot along the way, and then transitioned over to a software company called OS33, where we managed the technology for financial services companies all over the country, but mostly around New York City. So there, I really was able to kind of cut my teeth and had a lot of people there alongside who were able to teach me and help me learn and grow in the fields of IT that I was interested in, because there are really so many different areas. We have about 26 IT people on our team here at GPI, and I only touch, a sliver of all the work that we do, because there's just so much to specialize in. So I actually don't have a degree for my job. I am mostly self-taught, along with the people who've helped me along the way. I will tell you, you can get a 4-year degree for IT. If you choose not to, you have to work harder than everybody else. That's just a reality, because you don't have the piece of paper that says you know how to do what you do. You have to prove that you know how to do what you do. You can get some certifications. There's an organization called CompTIA that does many of the certifications you'll see on job resumes. Anything that says like CompTIA N+ basically means you're a networking specialist. Security Plus means you're a security specialist, and all down the line. You can get certifications from Microsoft for working on their technologies. You can get them from Apple for working on their technologies. It really depends on what direction you would want to go in. Tons of entry-level positions without a degree. That's how I got started. You can really just hop in anywhere that needs someone to fix computers. So long as you have a larger understanding than just knowing how to use Word when it comes to computers, and you have a willingness to learn, anyone who you work with will help you teach you how to do things along the way. I always tell people who I talk to who are interested in IT, I am not necessarily interested in working with the smartest guy in the world. I am interested in working with the hardest working and most willing to learn guy in the world, because I can teach you the tech stuff. I can't teach you how to work hard, and I can't teach you how to motivate yourself to learn. But I mean, as far as my impact at GPI goes, I get to look at things in New Jersey like the Pulaski Skyway or the Tappan Zee Bridge or things like that GPI has played a part in building that wouldn't have happened without IT. I can actually point to a physical object in the world and say, I actually made an impact there, which is awesome. That's not something many people get to do in IT. And as far as community impact and things like that, I mean, last year when we all got sent to work from home and do school from home, us IT guys were running around like chickens with our heads cut off. So, I mean, we impacted so much in that small amount of time, just being able to facilitate everyone to kind of continue their lives and continue working and continue learning unimpeded, because we were there and ready to go and make that impact. So that's just a recent example of how, you know, the things that I do help people in their daily lives.
Thank you, Louis. We really appreciate that. And you're right, we couldn't do anything without IT. So thank you for sharing that. So now I'm going to turn it over to Alonzo, because I'm sure he has plenty of questions to ask, especially from our students. So Alonzo.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much to the GPI team. You guys are amazing. Just to get an idea of what each person does and how it affects the company, how it affects society, how so many people do so many different things to create the world that we live in, and all the advantages that we have because of the work that you do. We really appreciate it. So it's been very informational, very informative for the students and for us as well. So thank you for that. So at this point, what I'd like to do is open up the floor for some questions for the GPI staff. And I know that we already have a few in the chat. I think some of them were answered in the chat, but we will just, we will repeat those again and just kind of bring them up. And at that point, anyone from the GPI staff can go ahead and answer these questions. All right, so one of the questions is, how has the software engineering field changed in the past 20 years? How do you expect it to change going forward? So how has it changed in the past 20 years, and what do you foresee for the future as far as the technology? And anyone from the panel can go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, so software engineering is something I dabbled in a little bit when I was working in or trying to go for game development. I mean, 20 years ago, I wasn't working, so I was 7. But you know, we were building technology on, you know, those big yellow giant monitors that sat on a desk and weighed 40 pounds, and you couldn't even get out to the internet. For most people in 1997, there was no internet. You were developing software on that machine. You loaded it from a floppy drive, and you actually had to learn how the computer speaks. There's a few different programming languages, but a lot of software development back in the 80s and 90s was done using machine language, which is very difficult. You have to know it's all that zeros and ones, you know, computers are made up of. It's learning how to manipulate those zeros and ones in a very granular way to get a computer to do what you want it to do. Fast forward now, all that stuff has been obfuscated. Whenever you're hearing about a programming language like Java or Python or C++ or C#, those are what we call natural language programming languages, because when you read it, you can read English words like for each and stuff like that. That is all a way to obfuscate the machine language. So under the hood, it's still all just those zeros and ones. But the programming languages make it a little bit easier for someone to kind of get across that initial push of understanding the computers to a different level. You know, back then, most computer software engineers were actually electrical engineers, because that's what a computer is. It's electrical circuits. And how do we foresee it changing in the next 20 years? I mean, cloud computing is becoming, I mean, that's what I specialize in, is all of our cloud software. So a lot of software development is going into what's called like a DevOps mindset, where you're actually working along you're working on little bits and pieces of things that all come in together to form a larger infrastructure. So you're going to become more focused in what you're doing as a software engineer, but become part of a bigger picture.
Right.
And also, like, our computing power grows exponentially every day. I mean, I'm hopeful that quantum computing will be available generally in the next 20 years, which actually uses the quantum physics of molecules to do the things that computers do, and wouldn't really be used for like your personal computer, but the mega giant computer in Google that makes Google work will use a quantum computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Louis, for that. I appreciate that. So we have another question. If we could speak to the kind of the benefits of working at GPI as far as being an employee there. What type of benefits would you expect to receive working as an employee at GPI? I don't know, Stacy, maybe if that's your area or if someone else can.
Well, we have our benefit specialist, which is Vanessa, on the call.
Oh, excellent.
And I know
excellent.
we had a brief introduction, but she can tell you what benefits we have here at GPI.
Very good.
We have a whole host of benefits here at Greenman Peterson, from paid time off to multiple retirement benefits. We have really, it's more of a employee engagement, because outside of our compensation benefits, our retirement benefits, our health benefits, we are also very dedicated to diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and making sure that our employees grow. You know, our number one strategic objection is employee satisfaction, and it goes into everything that we do. So one of the biggest benefits outside of all those very important benefits is the benefits of just creating this large network and having an impact on our society. But yes, for the traditional benefits, it's our, there's so many. There are so very many. We have our health insurance, which includes medical, dental, and vision. We have flexible spending, which is very important as you think, you know, you're getting into the workforce and you're going to have to pay income taxes. You know, getting involved in flexible spending and 401k will help you keep more of your income and save on taxes. So that's important. Think about that. And just career development and advancement and all those things of that nature.
Excellent.
One of the important ones also is we're an ESOP company.
Yes, we are.
So as an employee, you become part owner of GPI.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So how does that work, Stacy? And then how long do you have to work at GPI before you can actually become part owner of the company?
Vanessa?
Our employee stock ownership plan is actually, you own shares of the company, a value of shares of the company. So you have to, as you work, that value increases for you. But if you have to work here for 5 years in order to be 100% vested, and vested means that you get something that cannot be taken away from you. Alrighty. So you have to be here for 5 years to be 100% vested in the employee stock ownership plan. And it is a retirement plan, right? That's the intention of it. So while you're working, you really can't touch that value. But once you leave the company, you are entitled to a distribution. If you leave once you've achieved retirement age, which for us is 5 years and 65 years old and at least 5 years in the plan, you get an initial distribution. If you leave before you're 65 years old, then you have to wait some time to get that money. And it's usually 6 years.
Okay, good, excellent. So another question, what type of career path? So we try to really emphasize and talk about career paths with this program, Classroom to Careers. So what type of career path would I have coming in as an entry-level employee, and how could I possibly move on in that career path coming in as an entry-level employee?
I'll take that one kind of in general, right? As an entry-level employee, you are going to have a supervisor. You're going to have other employees that you talk to. And I think that many of our guest speakers today have talked about their experience. When you enter a company, you have an opportunity to learn a lot of the basic level work that is done. And discuss and talk to people, talk to other people, make sure you have a good open communication with your supervisor, let them know what your intentions are so that they could guide you appropriately. And you can move on in your career if you wish to specialize in a specific role. And that could be within our engineering group, our technology group, our administrative group, our support services. You know, there are a lot of different career paths within the company. And you might even want to switch, you know. So that's definitely, you know, we have Stacy here who for a long time, she's been with us for a long time. She was a marketing person for one of our subsidiaries, GPI Geospatial. And, you know, her passion has always been in engagement, right? And she decided and had a very good relationship with leadership and voiced her desire to be part of the human resources group and work in diversity, inclusion, and belonging. The opportunity came up and she got it. So really, it's about communication.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, and while you're talking about that, Vanessa, can you also talk about the salary that an entry-level employee might expect coming into GPI?
The salary really is going to depend on the role, the type of work that you're getting into. So I can't really speak on that. Really, it depends on what type of work you're going to be starting in.
Okay,
I would say an
understood.
entry-level engineer would probably start between 50 and 60K
Okay,
base salary. You know,
right,
that does not include. And when you're talking about base salary, another thing you have to consider when you're looking at an opportunity are the cost of those benefits that you might
right,
not be able to take with you to the supermarket or to the store and buy something with, but will have a long-term impact in your retirement. So when you're
absolutely.
planning for your future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So here's a question that might be more for Charles or Lou. So as far as the different projects that GPI takes on, they decide to accept, whether it's, you know, bridge, building, roads, whatever the case may be, how is it decided which projects GPI will accept and will kind of take part in?
So I know at the higher level, the management level, they do risk analysis on the project and how much employees we have with the skill set to do such a project. So if we have the skill set for a project, if we decide that it's worth going after, we'll put a team together, you know, manager, design engineer, project engineer, field engineer, make a list of the people we have, and we'll put a proposal in for the project. And then that proposal is basically competing with every other company who's going after the project, and whichever offers the best price, best quality of skill sets wins. And then we start working on the project if we get it. So I think that's generally the process of going after and getting a project and how it's decided on what project to go after.
Okay, good. Thanks for that information. Appreciate that. So another question from the students is to get into some of the career paths at GPI, what type of subjects should they concentrate on in high school? What courses should they take and concentrate on in high school if they want to be a part of GPI?
I'll speak for the engineer portion. I will say in high school, I strongly encourage take all the math, advanced placement math, physics, chemistry, even English and writing, because that is now a core requirement in college for engineers. Before it wasn't, you know, you could kind of like scribble and get away, but now they want you to write reports. So it's a good thing. So if you could take all the advanced placement courses for English, math, science in high school, it will save you so much time and money going into college. And then you'll be able to focus more on your design courses, which do take a lot of effort and you need more time. And if you get rid of the core classes, you'll be well ahead of the curve.
Excellent. Okay. Here's a very interesting question as well. So as you know, we're in New York, Suffolk County, New York. And so the students are curious as far as any projects or structures in the local New York area that we might recognize that GPI has taken part in, constructing, building, designing. Can you share some of that with us? Yeah. Or anyone. Anyone.
So I was going to say for the New York area, I mean, every large bridge you drive over, there's a GPI hat walking around. Verrazano Bridge, we do rehab. We did rehab on it. The GW, the George Washington Bridge, our construction inspection group are out there on that bridge doing repairs. There's a bunch. Van Wyck Expressway.
Wow.
If you drive on that roadway and you look above, we're doing the bridges on that also. So it's quite a bit, and we're pretty much touching a lot of the bridge structures that you see happen, the bridge rehabilitation work that you see happening.
Excellent. Very
And I
good.
know we have Denise on the call, so she knows that we've touched a lot of major projects on Long Island too. You know, a lot of roadways that you or your family may have driven on. So Denise, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about those.
Yes, please. We'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, well, I thank you very much for the forum. My name is Denise Carter, and I work with GPI for the last 21 years. I serve presently as the Chief Strategy Officer, and it's exciting to know that there are so many high school students that are eager to understand some of the things that we do, and also what's available broadly, because really this is not just about GPI, it's about the industry, right?
Right.
And so if you've ever asked that question, like, why did they build that there? You know, chances are an engineer, a technician, an IT person, a surveyor had something to do with it. And if you ask that question, you know, this is the industry for you. But I'm going to kind of shift it a little bit. So we have been involved with several roadway projects that you guys might be familiar with. 347. That section of roadway, sort of where like it splits off of Betts Highway and sort of heads up. Initially, that project was going to be, let's widen it, let's get as many cars through there as possible. But if you're familiar with that stretch of road, we sort of took a different and innovative approach and provided a multi-use path along that stretch. A lot more landscaping, refuge areas for people to be able to cross properly. And so you're seeing a lot more of those types of approaches being built into certain projects, right? Because here on Long Island, we know that it's not just about the cars, even though it kind of is. And so that's sort of an area that roadway design is starting to incorporate more. Another project that I'll highlight is we do a lot of resiliency and coastal sustainability work. And so we worked on a big project down at Smith Point Park for beach nourishment. There's been a lot of erosion over there over the years. And so, you know, we go out and we count the number of piping plovers that are on the beach and figure out how much sand needs to be dredged from the ocean and put onto the shoreline. And so, you know, it's not just about sort of that hard stuff, sort of bridge and traffic. There's, you know, roadway with other elements incorporated, and also sort of the natural environment that we're involved with as well. And the other thing I just want to make a pitch for, I know that both Nassau Community College, they have a great civil engineering technology and construction management program. I know SUNY Farmingdale's got a great civil engineering technology construction management program. And Suffolk, I believe, has engineering science and also construction technology. So, you know, if you kind of want to get started with some of the coursework, that's a good place to start. And, you know, just begin to explore. I heard someone say, ask questions, ask people in the industry. Look at GPI YouTube channel. Google what is a civil engineer? What is a planner? What is a land surveyor? And you'll come up with some really great things. So so thanks. That's all I have for the moment.
Great, thank you so much.
On GPI's YouTube channel, there's also a couple of videos from our people explaining what they do on a daily basis, and those are cool to watch.
Good. Yes,
a lot of fun with drones as well. So if anybody fly a drone, you can get paid to do that.
Wow,
yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, so we definitely encourage the students to check out those YouTube videos from GPI, and you will learn a lot more about that company. So we're going to be winding down. We're actually just a bit over, but the questions have been so good and the answers have been so good. We're going to go for just maybe another 5-10 minutes or so and try to get just a couple more questions in. If anyone has to jump off, I understand that, but we'll tie it up in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so, try to get a couple more questions in, and then we will go ahead and end the event. Okay, So I do want to ask this, one of the questions that came from the students here. So obviously we know that 2020 has been very, very trying for all of us with the pandemic. And one of the students is curious to how the pandemic has affected GPI and the industry in general during this pandemic that we've been in. And anyone can go ahead and take that.
Okay, I think I'll take that. Yeah,
Okay.
so what an incredible year it has been, and really difficult. You know, if anyone has lost anyone or gotten sick over the year, you know, our heart goes out as well. And so, you know, we really had to shift very quickly. Lou Tobin alluded to it because, you know, many of you have probably heard the word infrastructure, right? And infrastructure is like a big highlight, right? It's in the news right now, and it's a very, very high priority to keep infrastructure projects going. And so we had to keep going, you know, throughout. You know, there were a couple of projects that were paused because some of the agencies were a little bit unsure about their funding, but for the most part, we kept going. We had to keep going. And so we had to make a whole shift from working in the office to working from home, and IT did a fantastic job to make that shift. But for the most part, we kept working. There were a lot of industries, as many of you probably know, that really went down, that really suffered. But we had I think 2020 was one of our best financial years that we've ever had, which seems counterintuitive. But infrastructure, people still need to get on the road. People still need to drive over bridges that are safe. And so we kept going. So we were not interrupted from a sort of revenue standpoint. And most everyone was able to hold on with their jobs. But we had to make that shift. So now we're trying to figure out how, why, and when to kind of get back into the office. It's sort of a hybrid. You know, and that's one thing I have to say. I've been in this industry for 35 years. Wow. And we've had a couple of dips along the way, but for the most part, this is an extremely steady industry. So that's something to keep in mind too, as you're choosing a career. You know, there's a lot of old and aging infrastructure, and there's a lot of new infrastructure that needs to be built. And so whether we're rehabbing stuff or building new, there seems to always be opportunities in this field.
Good, excellent. Thank you so much. Great information. Anyone else would like to?
Yeah, sorry.
Go.
Go ahead, Lou. You're also go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, just to add on top of that, it definitely acted as a very big catalyst in a lot of the industry. I spend a lot of time talking with other IT professionals in engineering companies because we bump up against a lot of the same problems, so we help each other out. But we were on track to adopt, you know, more modern technologies already, but the pandemic just kind of took us and chucked us through the window as far as like getting people set up with, Microsoft Teams as a meeting and call platform to facilitate communications. We adopted way more cloud technologies to be able to allow our engineers to work from cloud resources versus like local file servers. And it just kind of forced us to accelerate down a technology path way more quickly than I think we were anticipating. But thankfully, we made it out to the other side okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, did you want to add to that? Very quickly?
Yeah, that in our case, the field crews were affected because they couldn't be together. I mean, they ride together in a car
Right.
when they go to job sites, and they couldn't do that. So we had to figure out how to give each one of them a car so they could get to the site and work and then wear their mask outside in the field and all of that. So we found very creative ways of getting the work done, and we did. And what I think JPI was most interested in was to keep everybody going and employed and not having to lay off people or anything like that.
Right.
So good thing is, and again, IT department for us was great. They set us up with computers in our houses. We took our monitors home and everything else, and they made it work. And
Excellent.
that was a big undertaking, especially for our geospatial branch. We manage big sets of data that
Right.
the cloud sometimes cannot even manage for us because it takes longer to manage. So yeah, it's been fun.
Okay, good, excellent. Okay. I really appreciate all of these great answers. So much helpful information. This has really been great. But we do have to actually go ahead and tie things up at this point. So what I will ask Stacy to do is really just kind of give us 25 seconds on just tying up the whole idea of GPI being with us today, and what their company is all about, and sharing information on how the students can reach out to GPI if they're interested in employment at that organization. So if Stacy, if you would just kind of tie things up in the next 25 seconds or so, give them information to contact your company if they're interested, and then we will go ahead and end the event.
Absolutely. Again, thank you guys for the opportunity to present to you on behalf of myself and our presenters and Vanessa and Denise. If you are interested in joining GPI, the best place to start is to get on our website and join our talent network. It's a subscription once you join, and then when we have openings anywhere within our entire organization, you'll get an alert so that you can apply. And then once you're in GPI, once you're a part of our family, and you may want to move to a different city or a different location, or an opportunity presents itself someplace else, you'll have the opportunity to move on to another place and remain with us, remain with GPI. So please jump on our website and get connected with our talent network, and then check out our videos on on YouTube, and figure out where you want to be, and then contact us. Just go ahead and there's an address on the website, and just contact us, and somebody will get back with you, either myself or one of our recruiters, and we'll be very happy to have you join us at GPI.
Excellent. And can you just give us that website?
Sure. Our website is www.gpinet, that's net, so gpinet.com. And I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Commissioner Drago, are you still on the call with us? I wanted to give her an opportunity to kind of give us some parting words if she's still on. Okay.
Alonzo, I think you can wrap it up if you don't mind. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So on behalf of the Commissioner of the Suffolk County Department of Labor, Licensing and Consumer Affairs, I want to thank everybody for being with us today. GPI, thank you so much for all of your help. You've been great. The information has been absolutely phenomenal, inspiring, and I want to thank you for joining us today. To all of the high schools and the staff that are on with us, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. We were happy to have you, and we hope to see you at a future event. So to everyone on the call, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the week. Take care.
Thank you very much for having us.
All
It was an
right.
excellent presentation.
Great. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.